Welcome to another edition of Coull Discussions. We are going to be talking about headlines. This is Barry. I'm Chris.
Hi.
And I'll start the topics off. Okay, you're going to love this.
So you guys know, we're talking about headlines for the week of, what was the beginning of this week? The 6th? 5th? Somewhere in there. It's the 12th today.
Yeah.
January.
Yeah.
March 5th of 2016 is kind of that
Headlines
week.
in and around.
Yeah.
Because some are worth talking about a little bit
Because
later.
we'll post this next week.
Yes. Okay, so the NDP government here in Alberta has hired a person to negotiate with unions because the union contracts are coming up. And as of just this past Monday, he was working for the unions.
Wow. Don't even get me started on unions, number one, for the first thing.
Yeah, unions are an entirely other subject.
Yeah.
It's the Wild Rose leader, who is the opposition here in Alberta, said that's kind of like letting the fox guard the hen house.
Yeah, pretty much, because think about this. You hired a union negotiator to negotiate with the unions who was the head of the union.
Yeah, it's...
Do you think he's going to have the government's best interest in his mind? Let's think about that one for a second.
Okay. If he hadn't just... Because as of this past Monday, he was still working for them.
If he was gone for like a year or two,
if he
then
hadn't been working for them for the past year and a half, etc., I get it, because, people who have worked on the inside have valuable insight about how things work and how things are supposed to be and how to get around certain corners. Great, but he was just working for them, and I bet you he wasn't fired. I bet you they went, oh, you're going to negotiate with us?
Okay, see ya.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Have a severance package. We'll see you when...
We'll see you at the negotiating table.
It's just like flabbergasted. When
are we going to realize the incompetence of government? When as a society are we going to go, put the brakes on, stop, hold on, offside, penalty flag, whistle.
Flag on the play.
You know what I mean? When are we going to realize as a society, and when are we going to stop banging our heads against the wall, going in circles, falling off the cliff like lemmings, whatever you want to call it?
It's a common theme with him.
When are we going to stop and go, all these governments we put in place are incompetent?
So far, the NDP has not exactly proven themselves to be different than the previous PC government.
So when you think of the PC government previous, right? Yeah. And how the downturn in the economy is being blamed on the NDP.
Oh, it's not really the NDP's fault.
How can it be 100% the NDP's fault when
okay,
it started on the downturn
in
before the
defense
election?
of the NDP, they inherited...
crap.
They got shafted. They really did. There's nothing they could have
inherited
done about...
an outhouse full of shit.
They did. And... instead of trying to clean up that outhouse, they're just shoving more shit in there.
Just taking more shits in it. What are you doing?
It was flabbergasting. It's like, really, first off, 100,000 people, the largest number of people have been laid off since 1983, which was the last major recession when the NEP was introduced, National Energy Program, which just devastated the oil fields here in Alberta at the time. 100,000 people laid off. Lots of people looking for work, lots of people losing hours, lots of people losing pay. And the NDP, instead of going to the unions and going, hey, you know what? People are losing their jobs. We're going to cut your wages. No, there's no cutting of wages. In fact, it's almost like they're giving them, oh, yeah, here, have an inside guy and just give yourselves whatever. And it's just like, no.
It doesn't make any sense. There's no justifiable reason for it. If this doesn't show a complete and utter
disconnect,
and incompetence by Rachel Notley and her team, then I don't know what does. And I think we should be able to, as a society, have some sort of mutiny, have some sort of way to throw the government out and say no.
Now there is actually a guy who's actually putting up a petition.
We've had it
stating if you get.
But what's it going to do? It's going to do absolute crap. There's no out clause. We're stuck with them for another 3 damn years. And what's going to happen by the end of 3 years? How is Alberta going to have anything left? Are we going to be so dry and so far in the hole?
Yeah, we'll still be a half province and still have to pay.
It's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And just for if you're okay with Alberta paying equalization payments to the rest of the country, and you think you have a problem with a socialist government, just give your head a shake for a second. Just think about that. I'm going to let you think here for a second. Okay. Yeah. Did you get that? Probably not. Probably not. You're okay with province giving money to the rest of Canada so they're not poor, but you're not okay with you giving your wealth to other people so they're not poor?
Ooh, I think he's on a personal rant right there.
Oh, was that? No, still didn't get it. I didn't know. I didn't hear the brains clicking.
No.
And if you're okay with our leader, our fearless leader, hiring a union head to negotiate with the unions on behalf of the government?
Yeah, there's something really wrong with that. It's a horrible thing to... Horrible thing.
Wow, you're part of the problem and not part of the solution. I know it sounds cliche, but we need to be part of the... I'm not sitting here saying I have the answers. I don't. There's a lot more smarter people than me that could come up with
okay, one of the answers is like you walk up to the unions and go, sorry guys, see how many people are out of work?
Yeah.
You guys have to take a pay cut.
Yeah, the private sector is hurting, but at the same time,
because
you can't just ask the union to take, you can't ask, I'm assuming unions are like the nurses and doctors and teachers and stuff like that. You can't ask them to take your pay cuts if you yourself as a government are not doing the same thing.
Yeah, and they should be leading.
You know what I mean?
They make a hell of a lot of money. You know what? Cut me 15, like the government people, cut them 15% and tell the unions they have to take a 7.5% or 5%.
You just have to ask yourself this question, okay? If a government position paid $50,000 a year, how many of these current people who are in government positions right now would still be there? And if the answer is anywhere below 100%, you have the wrong people in these government positions to begin with. Okay? So just let that sink in and just process that for a second and go, would you be Premier of Alberta for $50,000 a year?
75.
And then when you find somebody who would go, I'll be Premier of Alberta for $50,000 a year.
75,000.
You know what I mean?
I'd do it for 75.
Exactly.
Because right now I think she makes...
250?
Yeah. I think it's actually 250,000.
Cut that down to 100.
Yeah.
75, 100. You can still live comfortably on that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You can still live comfortably on that.
And on top of that, you get a hell of a pension.
You know, like a leader is somebody that you're willing to follow mercifully, regardless of their views, regardless of your views. You know, a leader is supposed to be somebody you can unite.
That inspires...
different people, different views. You know what I mean?
Yep.
When you have, like, a captain on a hockey team, you know,
He has to deal with a whole bunch of alpha males.
different personalities, but he can still unite these people regardless of their hatred for each other. Right now, that's what we need in government, is that we have people who aren't trying to unite. They're trying to divide. They're trying to segregate people's views, and we need a leader in a group who's gonna bring all these people together to work together for the common good. Well, you know, is this hire of this person for the common good? Absolutely not. And if you think it is, please tell me why. If you think that adding a carbon tax to an already hurting economy is a good thing, tell me why. Tell me what benefit this is going to do. Like, how respectful would it be if you saw a government come in, a leader of a government, the Premier of Alberta, come in and go, you know what, guys, we're in a hurting time. We're gonna slash all government wages 50%.
Ooh.
If you know, like, let's be here for the love of the job. You know what I mean? I love politics.
Right, okay,
you're
talking about bureaucracy, not like teachers and...
No, yeah, not like teachers. No, like government.
Okay.
Like, not teachers and doctors and stuff like that. No. When I'm not talking like I'm not talking like I'm talking like your
teachers,
MPs,
nurses. Okay, MPs.
your premier, your like let's
some of the bureaucracy.
Let's cut the fat off that stuff.
Yeah.
Like your assistant of your assistant. Like I'm talking like stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? Say you have to take a pay cut or you don't have a job or you got to cut, you know what I mean? Like we said, if the premier makes, I'm not 100% sure if it's 250K or not, but
She makes a lot of money.
if it is, say, even if it's 150K,
Yeah.
could you cut that by 75,000, by 50,000 a year? Yeah, definitely. That's,
And
200 grand that you're saving.
if she doesn't want to do the job, it's like, well, then guess what? Go to the private sector.
Yeah, like go to the private
Private sector is supposed to pay better, and the
for a
public
reason,
says
because it's a private sector.
yeah, and the
Because it's a
public
private
sector is supposed to pay less, but you get job security.
Yeah.
That's what it's supposed to be about. But right now, almost all across the board, Alberta, BC, Manitoba, Canada, the public sector is making more than the private sector, plus getting all the perks and stuff of government jobs, which is just horrendous.
When I say like government jobs, I know that doctors and nurses and teachers are
technically a
government
government
jobs,
job.
but I'm not referring to them.
No.
I'm referring to like people who work 5 days a year or whatever they work in the parliament. I'm referring to that kind of thing of like, when are you there for the love of the job or are you there for just because after 4 years, if you don't get reelected, what do? You go work in a private sector and then you get a pension from your previous job.
Preston Manning is a good example. When he lost, when the Reform Party closed down and he decided to retire from politics, he opened up the Preston Manning Center here in Calgary and he's still involved in politics. He's just a think tank group, which is what you can do, right? So that was a very interesting read. But it's very true, Don't do stupid things. And that's about as... Now, okay, we could both be proven wrong in 6 months' time.
Yeah, he could be the greatest thing to happen.
He could be a great tool, in which case we'll eat crow.
Yeah, but...
That's what it comes down to. But right now, horrible.
How it optically looks is horrible. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It is.
Like I said, I don't have the answers, but we need to think outside the box. We need to try something different.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Headline number 2. I want to talk a little bit about this International Women's Day that was, when was it? Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday?
Something like
one
that.
of the days, I don't know. I just want to talk a little bit about that and just get your view on it and wonder, why do we have an International Women's Day again? Well, what is this to celebrate? Like, to celebrate women's achievement? So you want just one day. So we're looking for gender equality.
In one day.
But we have to specify one day to celebrate it? Why can't we just, when it's that person's birthday, celebrate their achievements? Like, you're a great woman inventor or scientist, or you're a great...
Madame Curie.
Whatever.
Whenever it's her birthday.
Why don't we celebrate her that day?
Hey, make a big deal on it.
Yeah.
Hey, today is Madame Curie's birthday. She was the... Crap, was she penicillin? Or...
I don't even know who that is, unfortunately.
I'm blanking. No, I should know this. I think Madame Curie was penicillin. If not, she was something to do with X-rays and radiation.
But anyways,
Oops, sorry, ladies.
Just something on that day of, like, their birthday. Why do we have to have a day? Is there an International Men's Day?
No, because men are the established
Listen,
model.
Whoa. Back the fuck up here. Please.
Ooh.
Okay? You have an International Women's Day, and you want gender equality. Give me an International Men's Day. Don't tell me this bullshit about because men are the blah blah blah
Dominant members.
Don't give me that stuff. Do not give me that stuff. What? What? It makes 0 sense.
Okay, this is probably along the lines of what we talked about in the racism video, because there's Black History Month. And we both said, okay, what are we supposed to learn during Black History? Well, we're supposed to learn about blacks. It's like, well, why don't we just teach it in history?
Yeah, why don't we just learn about it in June? Like, what? So you want, like, we're supposed to have equality, but we're still segregating things.
Yes.
Into certain days. So only on that day we can learn about this, or this month, or this. Let's just stop it. You want equality until it comes to something that you don't like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A good example of this. Somebody wrote an article, and I thought it was... okay, I read her articles regularly. I don't always agree with her. She is a feminist. I will try to get the name for you later. But she wrote a very interesting article. Okay. She says on International Women's Day, women talk about how they want to be equals, right? And it's like, well, they talk about slut shaming, right? Talking about people dressing up in sexually revealing clothing, and it's like, they want to say, don't do that. And it's like, she's like, okay, that's one end of the spectrum, but we always forget about the other end of the spectrum. It's like burqas. Is it burqas? The full body dress, the gear for Muslims. Well, that's the opposite end of the spectrum, and women tend to ignore that. They're just as bad as men when it comes to things. They pick and choose what they want to deal with. Yeah. It's like, we want to get rid of sexism and treat women like equals. It's like, so you can't dress sexy. Well, then you should also be going after the ones that are dressing full body burqa, because that's the taking away of sexuality.
I can't believe I'm about to go here. I cannot believe I'm about to go here. Okay.
Go!
Kim Kardashian put up a nude selfie on Twitter of herself.
Yep.
And people...
Black bars.
Yeah, and people are, shaming her for doing this. What? Excuse me? Who cares? She's proud of who she is. She's proud of her body. I don't care if it's months old. I don't give a fuck. She's proud of who she is. She's proud of her body. She's proud. I think she's a adult, but whatever. I don't...
Men do this.
You know what I mean?
Regularly.
Yeah. There's constantly...
They're called dick pics.
They're constantly putting shirtless guys, Zac Efron, The Rock, you see constantly stuff like that.
Even just men in general who happen to have a body they're proud of, they'll take a selfie and post it up. Hey, look at me, ladies.
Look at me, I'm a...
You know what?
Yeah, this is...
If men can do it...
Why can't women?
Women should be able to do it. And that should be just the way the equality works. If women can do it, men can do it too. Right.
And if men can do it, women can do it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's what you talk about. Equality is. At least that's my idea.
That's my idea of equality.
So if a woman wants to show her naked body and post a picture on it, sure. Just don't be a dick and hit slut shaming. Don't do that. Just go.
If you don't
like it, you go.
Keep on scrolling
and go to a different page.
It's this thing. It's called a mouse. It has a little scroll bar on it, right?
Oh, for that matter, on your phone, you just
or you just go like this. You just ignore it. Unfollow the person who tweeted it or showed a picture of it. Yeah. You don't need to write a comment on it. You don't need to.
Don't be a dick.
I look at it. I look at another example. I look at hockey. Okay, and people say that we should spotlight the women's game more, right? And I'm fine with it. Whatever. Women play hockey. Okay, and there's a reason that nobody has started a professional women's hockey league. Well, I think there is a professional hockey league, but it's not as big as the NHL.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, the game is not as marketable and is not as entertaining as the men's game. You know what I mean? When you look at the NHL, you're like, that's the known one. When you go all over the world, people know about the NHL. You know what I mean? And somebody hasn't put their money behind a women's game because it wouldn't do as well in a market against the NHL. You know what I mean? It wouldn't compete against the NHL. So it's like, if it was a good business, people would have already put their money into it. And
I don't think it doesn't necessarily have to compete. It could be.
You're right. It doesn't.
It could be okay.
But I don't think the NHL should have to piggyback and carry another league.
No.
It shouldn't have to be we're showcasing. You can showcase it.
Here's a good example. Curling. I watch curling whenever I can. They have a men's league and they have a women's league, and I watch both because they're both exciting. Because the women, because it's not a heavy hitting, fast paced game, because it's more of a skills. So both men and women have the same skill set and can apply the same skill set. So they're both exciting games. Now, if you have hockey, the men's game tends to be more fast-paced, heavy-hitting, because men tend to be physical, whereas women...
They can be physical.
They can be, but as a general rule...
They
aren't.
Yeah.
So, defined... how many would you need for a league?
Oh, you can start with 6.
Right. Okay. The CFL
think-
actually doesn't actually have that many teams, so
Yeah, they're not.
but you still need what a couple of hundred women.
Well, there probably is enough. There probably is enough women to do a league, but it's like the business of it is: are we going to be able to make money? Are you going to pay $50 a ticket to go watch?
I wouldn't pay $50 to
Well,
go see an NHL game.
yeah.
So
But like, is there demand for it? That's kind
Maybe.
of my, like, who knows? Obviously not enough. If it's not, obviously for TV market, there's not enough demand. Obviously for, arena, there isn't enough, demand for that kind of stuff. You know
Yep.
what I mean? So it's like when my issue is propping up things to create equality. You're not creating equality when you put something on a crutch to make it. So just because you have two like platforms and one is down here and one is up here, but this one up here has like a stable like tower on it,
Yeah.
right? And then you go, well, I wanted this platform to be equal, and you go, well, I'm just going to put a little stick on this one to make it equal. It doesn't mean they're equal because the foundation isn't as stable on both of them. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I'm saying is like you have to have a stable foundation for these platforms to be successful in anything. So when you're just yelling about slut shaming and I want equality in wages, it's like if you're in the private sector and you're a woman and you feel like you don't get paid enough, you can move on and you can find
there are laws against inequality, so you can actually go to your.
Yeah, you can go to
Hold
Alberta
on.
Labor. You can go to
In
Labor
Alberta,
Board.
yes. In Canada, yes. I don't know about the States. I
Yeah.
think States is really weird.
But
when
you
it
can
comes to this.
fight it, and
Yeah,
then if it's proven that equality is happening, then you have your rights.
Inequality.
Yeah.
There are rights, and guess what? The company is going to have to do something about it. And you know what? This was pointed out. It's like men are taught at a young age to question things. Women are taught to be quiet.
Which is silly. Everybody should question.
That's just the way society has been. Now, it takes a couple of generations before new things kick in, and you can kind of see how things have changed a little bit. But it comes down to teach your children and lead by example.
Yeah.
If you want your child to question things, make sure you are not a meek puppy.
Don't make me have to quiet my voice just so your voice can be heard.
You can ask me to stop for a little while,
You know what I
so
mean?
you can talk for a little while, but don't say, "Oh, you're not allowed to speak up."
Yeah, you're not allowed to question, but I am. We deserve this because of this, and it's like, well, hold on, I deserve that because of the same reason. Then,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, what if somebody?
Oh, but women will say, it's like, well, men already have it. It's like, well,
No, we don't. We do.
But, okay.
Maybe that's where I'm naive.
maybe that. Unfortunately, that is where a lot of men will be naive. It's like we already have it. It's like, well, okay, if you're going to try to take it away, we're going to hold on to it that much harder, that much longer, and make it much more difficult for things to happen. If you go, oh, I want to do this, and we go, okay, but if you go, I want to do this, so you can't do that. You're not allowed to do that anymore. It's
Yeah.
like, no.
Yeah, it's like, hold on.
Guess what? I'm going to go, no, and you're a bitch, and
Or an
things
asshole,
get
or
horrible from there. But if you go, I want to do this, if a man goes, no, you're not allowed, well, then he's a dick. But if a man goes, okay, and you just go and do it, and we go,
It's
okay.
like I saw something on the internet. I can't remember the full extent of it, but it's like it said like if a woman hits a man, it's considered just like it's not nothing bad. If a man hits a woman, it's considered bad.
Yep.
If a man stares at a woman's breast, he's a pervert. If a woman stares at a man's crotch, she's just checking him out. If a woman kisses a man, she's romantic. Like, unexpectedly, she's romantic. If a man kisses a woman unexpectedly, he's a pervert.
Okay, that one's a little bit more difficult.
And it's like...
Because walking up to a random stranger and kissing them...
Well,
but, okay, hold on.
weird, but
His point is this. If a woman walks up to a man, a stranger, and kisses her, she should be considered a pervert.
yes, the same...
Either that, or men can no longer be considered perverts when they walk up to a woman.
You have to take the equality good with the equality bad,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
A good example of this was, this was in high school a long time ago. if we did something bad, our gym teacher would make us do push-ups as a punishment. Great thing. So one of the girls, she did something bad, and he's like, okay, put 20 push-ups. And the girl gets down, starts doing the woman push-ups. And the guy's like, no, you have to do the push-ups. It's like, well, I am. No, those are not push-ups. Yeah. Those are women's push-ups. You have to do the men's one. She's like, well, that's not fair. It's like, you want to be treated equal. So, because if the men have to do it, the women have to do it. So,
well, that's exactly it. Like the people, not just you. I'm not just looking at you, women, you African Americans,
men.
I look at everybody and go that people want to create equality by segregation still. By going, we have an International Women's Day, we have Black History Month, and we have Hispanic Month, we have Hispanic Day, or this or this. In my view, to start the equality, you have to get rid of it all. And you have to go, every day is a celebration of humanity, every day is a celebration of humans, because we're all humans. And
now, what about, hold on. What about St. Patrick's Day?
What about St. Patrick's Day?
Isn't that just a segregation of Irish?
It's just a reason to drink.
Yes. That's the point right there. St. Patrick's Day is not a segregation of the Irish. It's an excuse to drink. And everybody drinks. That's right. The whole point.
That's it. That's all I got on that. I just think that, equality needs to start somewhere. And by segregating to each individual day a celebration of a certain
equality,
it doesn't make any sense
with you.
That's right.
If you start treating people the way you want to be treated, everything goes better.
Look at that. Look at that right there. Knowledge right there. That's like the greatest day. That should be on a t-shirt, hashtag, something. Equality starts with you.
Yep. Treat people how you want to be treated.
On that note, guys,
thank you for listening to us rant yet again. Tune in next week for more ranting. Maybe we might actually talk about stuff.
More foot in mouth. Because that's probably what I'm doing. But I don't care.
If you think we put our foots in our mouth,
tell me.
Tell us down there. If you hit the dislike button, hey, that's your right. That's what the button's there for. But tell us why. So not only can we defend ourselves, but
engage you guys in a conversation.
Yes, we can engage you guys so we can maybe be enlightened.
That's right. Don't forget to like, share, comment,
subscribe
on the Facebooks, the YouTubes, the iTunes, all that stuff, guys. Thanks for giving us a little bit of your time to listen to us blab our mouths about our opinions.
Yes.
Good night.
Good night.